Welcome and good evening. Once more an English show. We would like to welcome you all the world to the Alex&Ragnar show on Thursday evening, 9 o'clock. Welcome, my friend Ragnar. How are you?
Hello, world. Hello, Alex. Hello, our wonderful audience. Great to have you with us. I'm so happy, Alex, that we have another wonderful evening here in English. It's going to be great. There is
cool.
there is no second part in German, so 6 minutes of English.
Yeah, of course.
So, who is excited with our audience that we are going to speak English the whole day? Please. Hey, Hubert.
Give
hello.
us in the comments where you're from
Matthias.
watching us. Hello, heute in English. Yes, unfortunately, once more. Okay, and we have a big bunch of trouble here. As I've seen, I cannot start the live show on LinkedIn. I got a post that says, "You have too many posts on LinkedIn for today. Please come back tomorrow."
To be honest, I've never seen it, that you are spamming LinkedIn here, literally.
Yeah. We are having trouble posting to LinkedIn. It looks like you have reached LinkedIn's daily post limit. You may need to wait until tomorrow.
So
Great.
Lesson learned, never post something on LinkedIn on Thursday when we're going live in the evening. Yeah. Another thing, what they didn't tell us at school and at Harvard. Yeah. We need to write a book here about our learnings.
So many comments are coming in here. Welcome, guys. Great to have you here in the show. Greetings to the world. Let's see, of course, Heino.
Hey, Heino.
Great to have you here once more. Hallo zusammen. Great. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so what of Twitch los? Okay, I don't know.
We are also not streaming on Twitch. Okay, that should be...
Well, I see this here. It's just LinkedIn not working. It doesn't matter. We don't care. I posted the link on LinkedIn where you can see us on YouTube as well. And what we now do is okay, so we start with our, what did I learn last time? Raffle?
We start with our raffle. That's a wonderful word, not waffle. Raffle.
Yeah, okay, so we start with it now. So, ladies and gentlemen, once more, we have a great and fantastic headset that you can win when you go on t1p.de/u34j. So then you can win this fantastic, I will show you here in the cam, this fantastic headset, because, Ragnar, what is the main point on this headset?
So I've got a little bit different one. So I've got the headset from the same series. I've got the 5016, and one of the biggest benefits is here for me that it's very lightweight. So I can just use it here, and I can literally walk from my office downstairs into my garden, grab a coffee, and sit in the garden. So the distance should be around 180 meters. Don't ask me for feet. But it's really for long distance. It's DECT headset, and you can also switch between the headset and also other things like Bluetooth headsets, speakerphones. So you can pair it with multiple devices, and then in case your headset is running out of batteries, push one button and then you move to the speakerphone. So great for switching between devices.
Yeah. And you may go very far away from your PC because of the stacked size. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, because because this was one of the most important things in my life. Sometimes when I have the horrible things of back-to-back meetings, I need to grab a coffee. And with Bluetooth headsets, I'm not able to go downstairs and get the coffee. And now finally, I've got more freedom, more caffeine, more productivity.
Okay, guys, so I think we have some more trouble with the technical stuff, as we can see in some seconds when I look downstairs of the stage to Karuana.
Yeah.
We'll see. We are starting now with our guest. We have Karuana Gatimu with us. So we are very excited to have her in the show, Mrs. Teams Adoption. Well, she will tell you on her own what she has always done. But of course, you may know the adoption.microsoft.com portal, all around Microsoft adoption and Teams adoption. So we are very pleased to have her in the show. So give us the jingle for our guest. Yeah, no guest.
Oh,
I just read in the private note. Maybe you can show the site while I switch machines. Karuana, we will do so. So we have no video cam from Karuana. We can hear her. You're here. Okay, I will give you. Okay, hi Karuana.
Hello. I will get my face there shortly. I swear I will. I'm so happy to be with you both. Thank you for inviting me today.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Yeah, absolutely. Great to have you here with us.
Well, there's so much to talk about in the adoption space that it's really exciting. So I am going to show the site as well. Hello, everybody out there. This is so fun. I'm going to show the site as well so that I can kind of talk through some of the new and wonderful stuff that we've launched that I know you all would like to see.
Exactly. Usually we say in US English, please tell me, what is top of your mind. But I know you, and I also want to ask you, what is top of your heart? What is currently your heart beating when you think about adoption, the latest news you are developing with your team? But before we dive deep, please, Karuana, please take a few seconds here and introduce you to our audience, because not everybody knows you. So a little bit of background on where you live, what you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I work for Microsoft. I work in Microsoft Teams Engineering. My name is Karuana Gatimu, and I have the pleasure of leading the Teams customer advocacy group. And our customer advocacy group is really focused on the health and well-being of people using our products. Of course, we like to drive usage and adoption. But it's really a role that I have to take a little credit for creating, and for myself, because I really like to build solutions. I'm a technical solution architect by trade, but I love people, and so I've had this wonderful opportunity to build a team around bringing those two things together. Long history in the SharePoint community. I was a SharePoint solution architect, and I ran Skype at Microsoft before Teams was born. And so kind of have this long history in this space, and now I get to bring it all together, right? My hashtag is better together, 100%.
So we have on Saturday, we have the 20th anniversary and birthday of SharePoint. Are we also going to have a funeral party of Skype for Business?
Well, there's a lot of people still out there using it. So even though we're approaching end of life, I won't jump on the funeral bandwagon, but that's the fun that you all get to have. It is a great birthday. We did celebrate Team's 4th birthday inside Microsoft anyway. And so it's been a kind of a crazy ride. I have to say that, I feel very privileged that I've had this opportunity to work on something like this at Microsoft, like a startup from the beginning. Teams was my project in my old job inside Microsoft when I worked in IT, and I knew that it was going to be something, and I was thrilled to get asked to join the product group, right around preview. So I've been here from the beginning, and it's been quite an interesting ride. I'll use that word, especially now, of course, dealing with the pandemic and what have you.
Great. So last Wednesday the week before, we had this 4th birthday, and it was great because I found the video, a short video about 5 minutes or so from introducing from November 2016, I think, where Satya presented Microsoft Teams and the intro, and of course some great music. And when I think about how big this impact was, and when we look back 4.5 years on this date where Satya presented Teams, I think no one thought about this fantastic impact on the world, and how we need you. Okay, here's something coming up.
There you go.
So that we needed Teams so much for this, also for this pandemic, and how it helped us, also the schools, and so everybody. So this is so great.
Yes. I agree with you, and I we're really humbled by the usage of the product, but nobody could have anticipated that we would be in the situation we've been over the last year. So I was reflecting. I had the privilege of hosting Microsoft Ignite, and I was thinking about the fact that the kickoff of Microsoft Ignite this year marked the 1-year anniversary of me working from home. And, as you can see today, working from home does not always go smoothly, especially when you're dog fooding the product. Sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. But I think that's brought some humanity into the space that we really needed. I think it's really something that this industry has needed for a long time, which is to recognize that we're not all about the technology. We're really about the people, their business outcomes, the kinds of experiences that they're having. And I feel like something that I've been talking about for a long time is now really in the forefront of the conversation. So even though there's been tremendous stress and difficulty in the last year, I believe going forward, there's going to be good things that are going to come from this. And that's kind of why Microsoft, adoption.microsoft.com has become such a thing now. This was a passion project of mine that I started. And I actually figured somebody would, when I registered adoption.microsoft.com inside the company, I figured, well, we'll see how long this lasts, that they let me run, a primary subdomain of the Microsoft, ecosystem.
Great. So this is definitely, literally your baby. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I wondered if someone would come and take it from me, but they haven't so far anyway, knock on wood.
That's an incredible story. And what I find so fascinating about this whole aspect of the human side of IT is that we are, on the one hand, most of us have met since literally 1 year. So in the past, we were traveling like crazy to all different kinds of conferences. Now we haven't traveled since 1 year. But for a certain kind of reason, I feel more connected with so many people because we spend the whole day in conferences. And usually, we talk very open. We wear casual clothes and so on. So the way we behave in conference and video calls is so much closer than in the past. So I feel more connected to most of the people. Although I don't meet them, it's very strange. And the other thing is we talk more about the personal aspects, like the disadvantages of back-to-back meetings and burnouts and overwhelmed by work and Zoom fatigue and Teams fatigue. So I think this is now currently a time where we talk more open than before COVID about things which are challenging us on a very, very personal side. Is this also something you are observing, that the human side is now more present in all these conversations?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. And, this idea of well-being that Satya talks about, so your audience may not know, most people don't, but I've been a meditation teacher for like 20 years outside of work. And I learned meditation when I was very young because I was very sick as a child. And at the time, I learned meditation as a pain management method. And so I've taught it for stress in grief counseling, which I've done, and in a lot of different areas. So I've always been interested in well-being and neurodiversity and, what the state your mind really needs to be in for you to learn and, embrace change. And now to work at a company that's actually talking about that well-being and neurodiversity and our partnership with Headspace and bringing these well-being tools into our product, I find amazing. I never thought my technology career would merge with the things that I've always been passionate about outside of work. And it really helps me to help other people understand that if you are stressed, if you are not hydrated, if you have sat for too long, you can't learn anything new. So all the bright, shiny objects in the world from my website aren't going to help if your employees are facing burnout. And employee burnout is really something that's such an important thing that we need to be thinking about as technology professionals, as adoption specialists. How do we help people avoid burnout? How do we have the tools that we have at our fingertips really support people in having whatever is the appropriate work-life balance for them? Because we can't dictate that to them. Nobody can tell me that I shouldn't be writing a blog post at 11 o'clock last night because that's when I like to write, right? And I posted a blog post about the research that we've done most recently from Work Labs on the new trends of work that we're going to be facing. It's this first annual report that we just published. And I was literally writing this very late last night, and I posted it this morning, but that's when I like to do that work. So we have to listen more and push our own best practices a little bit less. We can share wisdom, but it's a very different time we're in right now. And personally for me, I'm appreciating it. Yeah, but I miss everyone. I do really miss everyone.
We will do also miss everybody here. When I think about my time as MVP, and I thought about meeting all the people that I only know on LinkedIn, and till now, no meeting in person.
We're going to have the MVP Summit next week, and I really miss it so much. So
it's so awful. I know. I'm really grateful that the technology allows us to still get together and learn from each other. And I think that's wonderful. But I definitely miss the human connection. I miss traveling, frankly, because I really enjoyed all the traveling around the world that my job let me do. And this is the first time in many years that I've been home for an entire year. I can't remember the last time I was home for an entire year. It's crazy.
But what I want to say once more, as you told about well-being, so what I think is also that we as the partners of Microsoft, we are a partner of Microsoft, we also have to learn that there come new points that we need to understand and to bring to the customer. As you said, I'm also just a customer of Microsoft Teams. So when I see how my daily work is, jumping from one session to the next session with no pause between. So this is a big point. And first I heard about resilience from Microsoft. I've never heard it before because maybe this is also very much to explain here in Germany. And we started with a resilience trainer this year in our company. And we try to help people getting this mind set up to say, okay, technology is not all. And we get so many good things from you coming from well-being, also Viva Insights, and what we can take and use and make also this change to the people. So to onboard them to this new solutions. This is kind of a big change also for us as technology partners to have a view on this.
Yes, it is very different. And there's two components to that I think people really need to understand. First off, our partners in the Microsoft ecosystem. So I worked in a partner. I was a GM of a systems integrator before I joined Microsoft long ago in the legal industry. And one of the things that happens when you're a Microsoft partner is you were previously really guided to become an expert in a particular area, voice or collaboration or Windows deployments or what have you. And that deep knowledge was really valued. But now we're asking our Microsoft partners to go more horizontally across these different workloads. And that requires us to build skills. Also, I don't recall a time as a GM of a partner where I had to think about well-being as a workload or employee experience, right? And so everyone is learning together. So I think if we all approach it with some humility, nobody's going to be the expert. I have some experience because I do worldwide work. I talk to a lot of people. My job gives me this opportunity to learn from many, many people, and I can share that. But don't let anyone tell you that they're the expert in X, Y, or Z, because we're all learning globally together. It's very important, right? And another piece of that is, as an employee, as a person out there in the world, you're really in charge of your experience way more than you ever were previously, when the IT department simply pushed to you what you were going to have. Even I was having this conversation just yesterday about the fact that even in Teams, you're in charge of your notification settings, of whether or not you turn on your video camera, of the environment you choose to be in. And this is a good thing, because the idea that we can dictate to individuals how they should be doing certain things is kind of folly. But all of that is within the boundaries of security. I think now more than ever, the conversation around shadow IT and how we really get people to use the applications we want them to use for work-related tasks is important. And that's why adoption matters, right? You have to have a great user experience. You have to have clarity of what tool when. You really need to have a group of people inside the company that are that can be those champions that can help other end users. And I feel like it's really important to think about that differently now, because our IT departments need to adjust as well to supporting a distributed workforce as some of us return to the workplace and some of us remain in a more flexible work state like we are here at Microsoft.
Karuana, just one question. I just want to ask, Karuana, do you still want to switch machines so we get maybe a camera, or?
I would love to do that, but I didn't want to interrupt the item, and then I can also do the demo of the site itself, and then people can maybe ask questions about the content that we have.
Because we definitely want to know and want to find out, what you're currently working on at the adoption side of the M365 suite, because it's not only Teams anymore. And the other question would be, how does COVID has changed this whole adoption model and framework?
Yes, that's an excellent question. Well, first, let me just go through what's available here today. So a couple weeks ago, we updated the site. This is adoption.microsoft.com. And it's really geared toward anyone who's driving adoption of the broader Microsoft 365 ecosystem. And some of the new things that we've done here is we've organized the content by role. Now, of course, if you're just working on Microsoft Teams, you can come in here, switch to products, and you can find adoption content about these specific products. And we're adding more all the time. Right now, we're working on some Viva content, for instance, and more content around security and compliance. But more often than not, we find people really want outcomes and solutions, not necessarily product-specific topics. And this is something that has changed a bit since COVID as well. So we've organized the content by business users, champions, developers, and IT professionals. Each one of those roles needs something a little bit different, right? Deep technical information for our IT professionals, business outcomes for our business users. And so I'm going to go over here to the business user page, and I want to just walk through what a page like that looks like. One of the things I'm super passionate about is this better together model. Teams is better when you leverage it with SharePoint and Yammer and Power Automate and lists and all the other pieces of Office that are available to you. And if in your implementation you haven't turned on those other apps, I certainly highly suggest it. Because what people want to do are things like this. How do I onboard new employees? That's a very hot topic now, post-COVID, because you're onboarding employees now who may have never physically met their colleagues. And that's very different than a year ago. What is the employee experience? Our announcement of Microsoft Viva is directly about that. How do we bring together your intranet, employee insights and topics and learning into Microsoft Teams? And how do we deal with customers? This is the first listing of different types of scenarios that we know people are going to want to do, and we'll be adding more here. And this uses all of Microsoft 365, not just one. And then as you scroll down, we have kind of the core role guidance, right? Getting started enabling the modern workplace, joining our Worldwide Champions program. Our Worldwide Champions program is a free program that anyone can join, IT professional or business user. And every month we have a community call where we highlight new features, new adoption tools. We talk about research there. We talk about best practices. And we keep everybody up to date and give them slides and content that they can use in their own organizations. So if you're running a champion program out there or trying to drive adoption, and you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do? We have a playbook, we have themes for you. We have a lot of free resources that will make your life better as a champion of champions. And really helping people to focus on increasing efficiency and productivity is really about building on employee skilling. And of course, I'm one of the authors of Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways, which is a free tool that enables you to stream Microsoft product content into Microsoft Teams. But now we're integrating that in with Microsoft Viva Learning as well. So there's a whole host of free tools that will enable you to build on skills of people. And then one thing we know for sure is that a lot of people don't just wear one hat. Right? You may be an IT professional also accountable for adoption, right? You may be an IT professional that also does some development, although you may not do it every day, kind of like me, right? I manage services. I write some code on occasion. I certainly write a lot of scripts in PowerShell. You know, there's a lot of things that I do that put me in that developer bubble, but I don't do it every day. But you can continue to learn and build your own skills, because something really important for your audience: if you're not having fun right now, if you're not feeling challenged, if you're not doing meaningful work in this business right now, then I suggest you take a look at other roles or take a look at other skill sets you can build. Microsoft Learn is also available for you, and you can use that information to continue to build your skills. And it's very important to think about how Microsoft Learn can help you along that journey. So, just think about your own development as a part of how you're developing in your organization. But we have a lot of great partners in the space as well. And along the lines of this gallery, we've also landed what we call the Partner Solution Gallery. This is a curated list of solutions that are ready to go that can help you do certain tasks. And we have partners who do this learning pathways implementation. We have some that are specific to Microsoft Teams. And we'll continue to curate this list of apps for you so that you don't have to wade through all of them that are in the App Store today, right? And that's definitely feedback we've heard from people. Like, people don't have time anymore for all of that, right? They just need to know how they can get some work done very quickly. And we'll be integrating these solutions in with the types of scenarios that we have here for instance, new employee onboarding. This happens to be our solution. We have an accelerator that we've built for this that's free and downloadable. But we'll also integrate other partner solutions into these pages so that, oh, I want to change the way I communicate with customers. Here's some partners who can help me do that. Because not every organization, of course, has the internal talent to be able to build these things. But we have a lot of extensibility snippets that are available. And you might think, oh, what does extensibility have to do with adoption? Well, if I want to make it really simple for people to have a beautiful experience in Teams, changing the way people see apps in meetings, or get information posted from other systems, or do cool things with meetings, that really helps drive adoption. Right. And so we've organized this by product, but also by the type of app that you might want to do. You might be doing something with documents inside of Teams and want to extend the way those documents appear. So these are prepackaged little snippets that will help you polish and accelerate your use of Teams, but also of other things. And we're aligning these to the scenarios I was mentioning here. And so, like in professional services, there's 3 different types of projects that are available. Education, again, is one of those areas where we played such a big part, and we have lots of work to do there to make it even better. But, this academics assistant is a super popular little app that people use for faculty in a Teams implementation. So all of these are available here, and we will continue to curate these under adoption.microsoft.com, along with our very, popular and more traditional content, like I'm just going to switch over here to our adoption resources. We have a brand new page for meetings and webinars in Microsoft Teams. And these are, we're updating this constantly with the new features that we're releasing. Like webinars is something that we discussed. And instead of really going deep into the technology of it, like, here's just a quick best practice guide. How do you do an online seminar with the new webinar feature?
Karuana, one short question here from our audience.
Yeah, sure.
I received 2 or 3 times the question, do you have any plans to localize it to other languages and not only English?
Yes.
Our question would be, when do we get it in German? Obviously.
Exactly. So a couple of things. Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways and the training content that's there is now available in 10 languages. We just recently added Dutch. And so that solution is available in multiple languages. We are actively planning the move of our site infrastructure over to another system inside Microsoft that will allow us to have the 18 languages, primary languages for all of our content. Right. And frankly, that's one of the reasons I changed this content. This is a web page. It's not a downloadable PDF. So it may not be quite as pretty as some of our adoption guides or our day in the life guides, but it can be translated much easier and at scale.
Yeah,
so
we don't need
you'll
PDFs.
see,
So the main thing is we need content which is valuable, but we don't need PDFs. So that will be
that's right.
absolutely fine. And by the way, I've got here I received a comment here from Holger, and he said this content what you're just showing us, Karuana, he can use it tomorrow in his customer workshop.
Oh, that's
so this
great.
was perfect in time. He needs it for tomorrow.
That is fantastic. Well, good, because that's what we want. And then I will call out this little icon over here in the lower, this little light bulb. Yes. This will allow you to give us feedback. If anything is broken, if you just want to tell us something about the site, if you want to give us more information, just sign in and give us that feedback. We are making some changes to the way that we gather feedback at Microsoft, but we will always be gathering it. And you can also post on the Driving Adoption Forum in the Microsoft technical community if you ever have feedback on the site, on the content, if you find a problem at any time. I really feel like the hardest thing that I do on this site is manage the navigation. The navigation is, probably not the best at the moment. We're really trying to work on it. But definitely click through the navigation, take a look at the adoption resources. And I would love it if people in this community would submit new custom backgrounds. Nice. This is our custom background gallery. You can download and use any of these custom backgrounds. But what makes this really fun is when people around the world submit their
backgrounds.
Right? Backgrounds are a great way to drive adoption, by the way. And this is really important. It's the little things. It's the little things that help people actually use the software. Sometimes we're always thinking about the big things, right? Reinventing some business process or what have you. But just the fact that I can change my background to something that's nice, or submit one and use that as a theme, and teach people about meeting options by teaching them about backgrounds. It's these sorts of things that are super helpful to our adoption efforts. So,
and you know what? I'm usually not using backgrounds because I've got here my own lights. But what I really like about backgrounds is that they are a wonderful icebreaker in every kind of meeting starting situations. When you talk to people you've never met, then you can say, hey, listen, where do you live? I can see your background, so it looks like you're living in Berlin or Hamburg or in Redmond and so on. So that's always a nice icebreaker.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
You have something funny. As I remember, my good friend Jörg Wurzbacher, he made a photo from his sitting in his car. So, without sitting in the car, just the driver's seat. And when he started the meeting, and I said, wow, you're sitting in the car? Why are you sitting in the car and doing this? Till I recognized it was just the background.
That's right.
I had to copy this. This was so cool. Or something like a jet machine or something like that. You're sitting on the pilot seat. This is really funny because mainly the people start to laugh. And so you get this great icebreaker then,
Exactly. That's what we need. Exactly. We need more fun in our daily
meeting
lives,
bingo.
The other thing that you can find here, I just want people to know, is that we don't just talk about Microsoft 365. We have links to things about, for instance, the Azure Adoption Framework, other things, the SharePoint Lookbook. You can find all of the various communities that I've referred to here, our adoption community, the technical communities, developer and Power Platform communities. And there's a ton of training that's available through this site, as well as additional training on Microsoft Learn and others. So you can have this be a place where you can come and find this information. And we're trying to do the heavy lifting of aggregating this ecosystem together in one place, which when I was a customer of Microsoft always drove me crazy. I had a folder on my desktop of all the links I needed to know to manage my SharePoint infrastructure. And it was just nuts. And so trying to bring this all together here on adoption is also what we're doing in Microsoft Learn, bringing all the learning assets together in one place as well. So it's a journey. Obviously, it's not all done yet, for sure, but we're doing what we can, and really trying to bring it together.
By the way, when you talk about journeys, voyage, why are you mentioning in communities the French community and not other communities Like the German one.
This is actually one of my dev sites, and yes, there is a specific French community that was created, but it doesn't actually need to be there. So I'll probably move that. But
okay. Otherwise, we would try to convince you to also open up and kick off a German community. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, and this is one of the things too. What I really hope to enable is that people around the world can drive their own communities, and we are the managers of the Microsoft Community Tenant. And this is infrastructure that anybody can onboard to, and we will provide you the hosting space for your user group or for your event. And this was part of what we did for COVID. You asked me, how has COVID changed this? And rapid deployments are definitely the thing, enabling and having special topics, obviously, around, remote work and what have you, has been very important. But nonetheless, I think what's really been helpful is providing the service for people to be able to deliver their meetings using Teams. I mean, obviously, if you're using a competitor, that's fine. But if you're going to be a Microsoft user group or a SharePoint Saturday or something like this, I just assume you were doing it with my product. So this is why we created the community tenant. And that has been a fantastic effort that we've done. And so if you're a user group leader out there or a community leader, or you're thinking about doing a SharePoint Saturday and you need some help, reach out to me and my team, and we will get you onboarded to the community tenant. And, there's some things like we want to make sure you actually do, meetings and things like that. You can't just kind of just sit there, but you do, you need to do events. But we really leaned into that because we wanted to help people.
We are very proud here. So I must say we are super proud here in Germany that we have such a great team of organizers. So I think we have some weeks where we have like 4 or 5 meetups every single week. 4 or 5 every single week. And in a very few minutes, we will show you what we're doing with our communities. And we have here currently organizers, like Thomas Love is organizing. I've seen Corinna here. She's organizing. So people are so passionate, and they spend the whole evening 4 or 5 times a week only for the community. Alex is showing it up. So that's currently our March. And that's amazing. So we will start on Saturday with the SharePoint birthday party, obviously, thanks to the organizers. And then,
meet up.
No, I think that's fantastic.
So it's literally every single evening. And that brings us closer together. And I'm so passionate about it because this is my preferred way of learning. I don't buy books about Teams. I don't buy books about SharePoint. I just go to these meetings, and this is the way of learning. So next to Ignite and all the other official stuff, that's my preferred way of learning because I have to learn. I'm spending every single day 1 or 2 hours in learning Power Platform and so on because I was not born with this knowledge about Power Platform.
No, nobody was. And
exactly.
You're really hitting on something important there, which is making time in your calendar. And this is one of my best practices. And I definitely had to work harder at this during COVID, which is blocking out time in my calendar for myself, but also for my team for learning. So we have a full day a quarter that I block out in their calendars, and I advise them to cancel all other meetings. We definitely, across experiences and devices in Microsoft, we have no meeting Fridays, and a portion of your no meeting Fridays is expected that you will use learning, for learning. And, it's just, we've always had to do this as technology professionals and adoption folks, but now more than ever, we really do need to carve that time out, and it needs to be dedicated because you need your brain to be in a relaxed state to take in new information, right? And I can't ideate or make things up out of nowhere, and I can't learn if I'm very stressed out going between one of my back-to-back meeting days. And I have those days for sure. But nonetheless, having those breaks in between meetings, all of our meetings start 10 minutes late. It really helps. Sorry, Alex, I want to say something.
Yeah, Karuana, this brings me to one of the points that we announced for today that we also want to talk about a little bit about the updates that we had in the last weeks around Microsoft Teams. And of course, Viva Learning, as we just talked about learning. So what I would love to talk about, if it's possible, is something like Teams Connect, the new shared channels.
Sure.
This is, I think, one of the biggest changes for adopting at our customers to introduce this solution, because it has such a main impact.
Yes, it definitely does. So for anybody who didn't hear about Teams Connect, I'll just give a brief kind of overview of what it is. So many people have heard about, in the past, we've been talking about shared channels. And, you know, what has happened across Microsoft Teams is that oftentimes we have what we call team sprawl, much like we had in the SharePoint days, right? We have team sprawl because people will create an individual team when what they really need is just a channel to collaborate with people, often outside of their organization. So Teams Connect will provide you with a variety of ways to do that. There's more granular control and federation. So that's tenant to tenant connections. So my tenant of Microsoft is connected to the Avanade tenant, for instance, and we can share information. But the problem with this before, many of these things existed before, but it was the granular control, the IT manageability of it that was really kind of an issue. And so now with Teams Connect, we have this ability to go beyond that. And then depending on the IT configuration, we can ensure that, say, for instance, I have a team that's all of the events that I manage on a regular basis. And I can grant access to an individual outside of Microsoft into just one channel. They won't see the whole team anymore. It's the opposite of private channels. They will only see that particular channel. And that is a game changer. That really enables us to have proper team structure. If you've seen any of my videos on this, on Coffee in the Cloud, or heard me speak about governance, I'm an advocate of bigger teams with more channels to really create a center of gravity for the work that you're doing. And so, but the blocker to that has been this issue of membership. And so now, between private channels being available and shared channels becoming, and Microsoft Teams Connect becoming available, we can solve this governance and sprawl problem that we've had in the past. So I'm really excited about it because I really want people to have bigger teams, right? So for instance, my team for Microsoft Teams Event Hub, it's what I called it long ago, and it probably has, 100 channels in it at this point of different events that we've done. And of course, then we archive those things when we no longer need them. But all of the event work that has to be done in my group is done in one place. And it helps people with the information overload that often happens with Teams and SharePoint and other collaboration tools. So you want to create that center of gravity for the work that you're doing and bring people in. But this way, I can stop worrying about, gee, are the folks from one group going to see the work I'm doing for another? I can invite the people that I'm organizing a community event with, for instance, just into their channel. So shared channels are going to be very powerful. They'll start rolling out later this calendar year. And the idea of having trusted organizations that you're federated with and having more control over that is also fantastic. So
what do you think? Are they easy to learn, or are you currently also investing in the adoption parts where you help to learn how to use them?
Oh, absolutely. This is Microsoft Viva and webinars, the changes to meetings and meeting options, and how you do, especially advanced meetings like digital events. And this are kind of the top 3 areas that we'll be working on adoption work for sure. And then, of course, we have things like Power Platform, the Power Platform, virtual agents and Power Automate, and really using that in Teams, right? So you'll see us very much leaning into it. And I agree with the comment that you just had up there. Yes, there is some complexity involved for sure. So, if you haven't looked at the video that I have on my guidance for creating teams and channels, I suggest that's going to be the foundational knowledge. I'll be putting out a new playlist on governance for Microsoft 365 so that people have that baseline information of how you should be governing your environment and automating provisioning and all of that good stuff. And then we'll add to that this issue of federation and shared channels, or Teams Connect. to help people understand what they should be doing. But again, it's a journey. Everybody's going to want to do this a little bit different depending upon your region and the different goals that your company or industry may have. But at least now you have some flexibility that's governed and managed, from an IT pro perspective. That makes me really happy.
Yeah, governance is one of the most important and trending topics, because we've seen so many companies who are jumping on the bandwagon of Teams last February, March, 1 year ago. But now after 1 year, we are facing now the Teams sprawl and so on. Everything is going out of control and growing like mushrooms and so on. And now it's a time for governance, because they're using Teams since 1 year and didn't start with the best practices.
I like people to think of it as you did a rapid deployment because you had to because of the pandemic. Now it's time to go back and polish that deployment. You didn't do anything wrong. It's not broken. You did what you had to do. But now is time to go back and take a look at how you would really like that implementation to behave. And you can introduce new governance controls. You can introduce new naming. Lifecycle management is a big thing. People worry about sprawl, but that's worrying about the wrong thing. You need to be governing the provisioning of Office 365 groups appropriately. Who can do it, when they can do it, how long they can sit there empty. That's what you should be thinking about. Not worrying about the fact that somebody makes 4 or 5 different groups and you don't know what they are. So I really want our IT professionals out there to shift their focus to the things that will make them and their companies more successful, versus kind of what we've done in the past, which we call command and control, right? This is about enablement within a secure and governed environment versus the command and control methodology that we've had in IT of the past. So I'm a big proponent of that. I also don't believe in just turn it on and let people do whatever they want. No, that's not what I'm saying, right? I do not I'm never going to surrender my IT professional card. I do not believe in just turn it on and let people go. But that's why we give you those capabilities in the IT admin center, so that you can really govern the life cycle of these assets.
So one more.
It's not bad, because sprawl is not bad. I always have this picture of of gardening, and when you talk about gardening, it's like you're adding water, you're adding seeds, you're also doing weeding and so on.
Yes.
So it is going to grow. It's going to grow, but you can control in which direction it can grow. But growing is something which is perfect by design. You just have to take care that it's going into the right direction. And the fruits are going to be sweet and beautiful.
So I just want to turn the next point because I have the look on the watch and I'm the timekeeper here. But
yes.
What I really want to talk about also is the new presenter modes, because I know this is a little bit more feature style, but what's so Karuana, we got a photo now. It's getting better here.
Fix my webcam because my stuff is at least I can put my picture up. There you go.
That's great.
That's actually a picture of me at the studio behind the scenes at Microsoft Ignite, my night shift.
Fantastic show you did there. This is always great to see you there. What I want to talk about is the point about the presenter mode.
Yes.
We already heard it before, and now it was more announced. But we get more information on this. As you might know, we already had a session in December with my other community. We talked about this. We have a big video studio installed to do better trainings. Everything was now on Teams training. And we just post a new photos, because we will be in a new video studio at around 100. I don't know the feet. It's so large. So just to do it better. And I'm very excited to see that this will come also to every customer using Teams, that he can use a better part of training. You can see the PowerPoint and you can see the person who is speaking, not very small in the bottom. And you have to watch all the slides. You can see the person in the slides. So this, I think, is a really great update to get better meetings and see the people in this case.
100%. I agree with you. We know this from, and again, accelerating features like this, which I'm showing too, accelerating these features is part of the learnings that we had from our rapid deployments and our support during the run-up of the pandemic. I will share with the audience too, just really quickly. I've never worked harder in my life than from March to June of last year. And I've never watched so many people around the globe rally together to respond to that very unique situation. But also what's come out of that is tremendous learning about how people use our products. And presenter modes is one of those 100%. It's very exciting to have these features come out so that video meetings can be more engaging. We know for sure that staring at a screen and staring at some slides is not the way to go. Of course, you can do it, sometimes, but people need to be visually engaged. We've trained them over the years about how they should feel when looking at content on their screens from other industries, obviously. So these new features are really important. And I also want to call out the fact that part of adoption.microsoft.com is where we give guidance on how to produce events. So there's meetings and webinars, which are very simple and out of the box. And of course, you can also do more large-scale digital events. And the large-scale digital events really allow us to do things like Microsoft Ignite and other things. And you mentioned you have a video studio. Well, some folks may have that out there as well. And we've just now published our advanced production playbook. We have our full playbook for how to do events, and we're updating that now by role again here so that people, for instance, this presenter guidance is good no matter what you're doing. Talks about the kind of hardware you should have and what have you, but also what's the attendee experience. So this information from the original playbook does not yet incorporate webinars, but it will in the next couple of weeks. But our advanced production playbook also is great for people who are running broader scale events, and maybe you're using something like NDI, like you are right here, to pull in people's videos, feeds from a variety of locations. And we have a community that's specific around this. So if you have any questions about how to run an event of any size or kind, bring it to our forum out there. We're all out there. We're there to help you. We're learning together. But there's a lot of great information that's available on how to use these new tools to make engaging content, help people learn. And also, frankly, from a career perspective, it's a great thing. Like, look at the show you're doing right now. It's wonderful, right? And really enjoy it. And it's tailored to your community, and it's fun. It's engaging, and you're streaming to all these different platforms usually. And so, but the last thing I'll say is, if you're going to do digital events of any kind and use these new tools, whether it's just a Teams meeting inside your organization or something more broad like this, exhale. Things happen, right? Today, my video camera isn't working. I'm one of the premier producers inside Microsoft, and I'm having a technical issue, right? Your Twitch thing didn't start or whatever. Things do happen when you're doing events like this, but at the end of the day, people don't always care. Sometimes it's very important, but people really care about the human element. If we were doing, obviously for Satya's keynote at Ignite, we had multiple rehearsals and failovers, and you're going to build according to the scale of event you're doing, but just try to have some fun with it. Right.
The great thing is that voice is working, and you're also spending every Thursday, I think, a show on Clubhouse and so on. So the voice, is really something which is attracting.
Yes.
So
people underestimate all the power of their voice. Never underestimate your voice, and so it can be.
By the way, we also get questions around voice, and people they love to get feedback and asking, what is currently the future of user voice? We don't have it anymore. Is this something you can already share how you want to gather feedback from the users globally? Is product-wise?
We are moving away from user voice. That is true. If you've been to the Microsoft Teams user voice recently, you've seen the new notification on the page. There's a blog post about it. We're looking at different options as a company. This is a company-wide initiative. And so I can't share a lot of details yet, but you'll see some of those changes more towards the end of the calendar year. But we will always be gathering feedback. There's not going to be a break in the feedback gathering process because there's multiple ways that you can send us feedback today in the product. It's strictly the use of user voice as the tool that we use for that is changing. And one last thing on that, I know sometimes people get frustrated about our user voice, especially in Microsoft Teams, but also in other products. We do read them. We really do. And I know that you might want something to not say just in the backlog or under review, but I always my team manages our user voice, and I err on the side of truth. I'm not going to put something out there that is more than what is actually happening. And I will say that our roadmap process has shifted dramatically since COVID. So I realize that it can be very stressful, that sometimes we're not as specific as you might want, that we've changed things in Message Center, et cetera. All of that is essentially my team. But, we're continuing to learn and evolve those processes to meet the needs that you actually have. And, mea culpa, I know that sometimes we don't do that.
Thank you so much.
Karuana, yeah, thank you very much. I need to have a look at the clock. So
Yes.
we have 2.5 minutes left for our community events. Karuana, I'm very pleased, or we are very pleased to have you here, or had you here in the show, that you took your time 1 hour to talk to us, to our community. This was really great, and thank you very much. And we really hope to see you again, maybe in person, I hope.
I know, wouldn't that be lovely? I would love to see you in person, but I'll also love to come back again. I promise next time I will update my stuff ahead of time and not be in dog food. But thank you very much for including me. I really like to be here, and I'm happy to come back again.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Maybe you stay the last 2-3 minutes once more here in the show. Then just have a look at our community events, and
I'm not going
then
anywhere.
we can all say goodbye.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay, so as I will turn over to the community event. Yeah, and as we have seen before, the upcoming dates for our communities, as you can see here, the March, and of course we have some Easter breaks. Then it's going on 13th of April with all the cool events. Also the SharePoint birthday party.
And if you are into Allspace and you have some VR goggles and so on, like Oculus Quest, then please join it. It's going to be a great immersive event in the VR world. But you can also join using your Windows 10 Allspace app. So no need to have goggles.
I need this gloves.
I love them so much.
Yeah.
Goggles. Yeah.
Goggles. Okay. Yeah, I need to have them too.
It's crazy immersive.
Of course, then we have in April the Modern Workplace Summit. You can watch here. It's also an American event, 2 days. It's mainly in the late afternoon, in the evening for us. Here you can see how many people or how many speakers we will have. This is a great big event from many speakers also from Europe. And as you can see here, we have this update in the mid of April from the Office 365 Academy. Also our MVP, Thomas Love and Hans Brender and Thomas Meyer will attend here. And I will speak about the Teams updates on this date. And we have our ACM Teams user group also using Microsoft. I just want to say Meetup. No, it's Microsoft YouTube.
Community tenant.
Community tenant. Sorry, I lost the word. This is the problem with my English.
Powered by the Microsoft Community Tenant on your slide.
So this is
a great topic. Yeah.
Our ACM Teams Europe. Yes, we have how to measure adoption. This will be a great thing with Timo Laubach and Will Güstrand. We will have there in mid of April. And of course, I will talk once more at Tech Data about the Teams productivity with apps and meeting apps in Teams, and how you can organize yourself in Microsoft Teams. And once more, Mr. Power Magic, Andreas Schlüter, with his Einfach M365 group Power Weeks, this time on project management. Call for speaker is open until end of March, so please attend. And at the 1st of April, you can register for this event. And we have the Summer Share Camp 2021 and the 1st of June. Every Tuesday, you will see them live. And I think this is it. Yes, of course, this is it. So last thing what we have to do is we have to talk about the raffle. I will never learn this once more. So here is our jingle. So let's see who has won this fantastic Epos Sennheiser headset. And as you can see here, Thorsten Grimmer, you have won this great headset. Congrats to this. Len, the last thing what we need to do is we see who will we have next week in the show. So this will be Christian Spanek. Christian Spanek will come to us. Maybe you know him. He is very famous. Of course, he's also linked in Top Voice Dach in, I think this year it was. And he is one of the... Did he say on his own dinosaurs? I don't know.
I've seen a video today where he was talking about the internet in 1987. So he's one of the most famous guys talking and explaining the computer world since the early 80s.
And what's really great is that we will talk about maybe your technique. No, not a maybe. We talk about technical upgrades of your home office. What can you do to do better meetings with cameras and stuff like this? So how can you upgrade this? I think this is a really great topic. And as you might know, we are also in the Sascha Pallenberg show on Sunday. This will start again in April, as I remember. There was a little pause, and there's also Christian Spanek always doing great editorials about better meetings and all the technical stuff, what you can do for this part. Yes.
Wow.
But nobody knows what is Stubenhocker in English.
Oh, I don't know.
Couch potato. Okay. Couch potato.
Yeah. Couch potato.
We're locked down here.
So, Karuana, thank you very much for 1 hour that you shared with us and all the great updates and the adoption portal and what comes to Microsoft Teams in the next days or weeks this year. Thank you very much. And so we can say all goodbye and have a good evening. It's 10 in the evening here in Europe.
Wow. And thank you very much for having me. Y'all take care now.
It's a pleasure. Thanks, Karuana.
Bye-bye.
So, goodbye to you all. Till next week. We'll see us.